Reading something from the Optimist Creed. I absolutely love this. I just found this book, which is written by Christian D. Larson, and of course this was written in 1902. So here are a couple of optimistic aspects that we really need. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature you meet a smile. To give so much time to the improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others. To be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. Wow. And there are many more there, but I just wanted to start the show with that beautiful sentiment. So again, it's Earth Day this day, week, and year. And I've decided that I want to do something this year for Earth Day. And that is I'm going to do everything I can to not buy anything that comes in plastic. So that's going to be a challenge, I'm sure, but I'm going to figure it out some way, somehow. And there are ways to do it. Like I have my honey jar that's filled with my lovely water, my lovely enzyme water that I throw coffee in here too and stuff. So it's really, really possible. And let's just get creative and figure it out because we've just got to. Like the time has come. We've got to do this. So I want to get right to talking about my guest who I have today here. We're going to be doing some really interesting conversations about clothing. I have Eve Michaels, who wrote a book called Dress Code, Ending Fashion Anarchy. I love that. So she is a rockin' amazing person who works with people. She's a fashion guru. She's a fashion guru, and she does it with spirituality, with love for the person, with understanding so many elements of presenting oneself to the world and why to do it in a certain way, and up-leveling our sort of idea and ability and ritual about doing that. And so she has written this amazing book, and she speaks all over the place and has worked with some very, very amazing people. And so I want to go ahead and bring on Eve Michaels right now. Hi, Eve.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Even better now that I'm with you. I love your
Thank
energy.
you.
Your energy, your beauty, it's contagious. I'm happy to see it.
Oh, thank you so much. That makes me so happy. And we're just finishing our music. I love that it's just coming to an end. Perfect. So, Eve, I want you to, I'm going to first tell you that I want to talk about a few different things. I mean, some people may think that fashion, our image, our way we present ourselves is superficial, is self-serving, and all of that. And you may not know, but I was a fashion designer and a stylist and stuff for many years as well. And I sort of had so much joy in really working with people and bringing out their inner beauty. So I want to kind of get right to the reason that we really do this. Let's get to the heart of the matter, as they say, as the Eagles say.
Okay, let's.
So go for it. Tell us, what is your passion about this?
My passion is to raise the public's awareness of how important beauty is. To me, beauty is a vibration. It's an energy that we open ourselves up to, we avail ourselves to, we resonate to, and then we draw that into our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And magic happens when we do that, and we cannot feel human and really express ourselves without beauty. And it's not just beauty in us, which we've come to believe, sadly. It's not just being a nice person. Of course, that's important. But it's the energy of what we put on us that we carry with us everywhere we go each day.
Well, what's really interesting about that is, again, it may sound superficial to some of you guys, but just think about a friend of mine just came back from North Korea, which is a very, very difficult thing to do. First of all, to go there, and second of all, to leave. And he was there on a surfing trip, and he didn't get to surf because he found out when he got there that all of the beaches are completely barbed wire off and everything. But what he found that was so amazing that he shared with me is that everyone there wears gray. It is basically a uniform, and it's the drabbest gray, like the color of our asphalt. And then we think of the Dalai Lama and the Tibetans, and they wear the brightest saffron orange with that really cool sort of burnt red. And so just as an example of vibration and color, that's a stark contrast, isn't it?
It is.
An oppression to enlightenment.
To an expression.
Right.
Oppression to expression.
Yes, yes.
I believe that people who are very in tune with beauty, who are spiritual, for example, I used to go to Agape Spiritual Center. I was a member there for 10 years with Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. And I always told people it was like praying in a kaleidoscope of color. Not
So
only
true.
skin tone color, but every kind of costume, regalia, outfit you could think of. And I loved it because I felt that this was the microcosm of the macrocosm of how I want to see the world being expressed.
Absolutely. And mentioning Agape, many peeps around here talk about Agape, and some of the people there have been guests and everything. And one of the things about Agape, and I actually notice in some of the different cultures, which we'll talk about around the world, who express their outer differently than, again, the sort of possibly sloppy American, is the African American or black, the tradition is to really dress up for church.
Yes.
Well, really dress up a lot,
Exactly.
period. But to dress up for church. And so at Agape, you see some get-ups there. Oh, my God.
Well, African American,
sexy, too.
yes,
Amazing and sexy, too.
I have to say, I wanted to say, I really love the African American attitude about beauty and dressing up, which I wish all Caucasians listening would really listen to this. They believe it's a privilege to show up.
Yeah.
And I'm quoting them. One of the practitioners that was at a dinner years ago is at honoring the Michael Beckwith and Agape. I said to her, "You always look amazing." And she said, "Well, I don't have a lot of money to do that, but I do my best because I always want to show up." And it's I always tell people, when you walk in a room, you're either going to make people happier with the way you look, or you're going to depress the heck out of them.
Well,
but they're going to notice. They're going to notice.
Exactly. And we may jump around a little bit, guys, so just kind of stay with us. We'll be a kaleidoscope today, a kaleidoscope of concepts.
Awesome.
Speaking of not having that much money, I lived in Africa, a couple different places in Africa, and the regalia, the regalness of the women and the men in the dressing there, and they may have, and the fabric there is really amazing, and they hand dye it, and I actually had some of these pieces and brought them back with me and made things out of them. The colors, the combinations of colors put together, but maybe there are 3 or 5 or 7 gowns or pieces that someone may have, but they're beautiful, they're clean, they're gorgeous, and the posture and the positioning and the presentation of the human is so magnificent. So again, it's not about the money, and I've said this forever. People are like, "Well, it costs so much money to dress well."
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No.
And it gets me angry because we of all nations have such amazing bargains at our disposal. All the discount stores and all the ways online and eBay and all that, resale, designer, consignment, and vintage. We have so much, and we don't appreciate it.
Exactly.
To realize that anybody can be beautiful on just about any budget, but we have to instill the desire back inside of ourselves.
One thing that I wanted to mention when you were talking about the sort of the thrift shops and all of these different things, I love Queen Latifah, and she's just one of my faves, and she has a talk show right now, and she was just on speaking about Earth Day yesterday, and she was talking about how she wants to recycle her clothes, meaning wear them again. Like the celebrities just wear them one time and then that's the end. And she was saying that she was speaking to Michelle Obama, and Michelle Obama insists upon wearing things more than one time. And so Queen Latifah really sent out some photos of her different outfits and dresses and whatever to her peeps out there and said, "Okay, you guys vote on what you want me to wear again." So they voted on something, and she wore it yesterday. And oh my God, she looked like an African queen. It was this really cool orange, gold, brown, long flowing dress thing that was long sleeve, and it kind of, but she just dug it. It was like, come on, guys, like we can recycle our own stuff and think about that. What ends up in the landfill, we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Kate Middleton, she also recycles her clothes, wears certain shoes over and over, dresses over and over. I think the idea of wearing things once is not good for the earth, and,
No.
and not a consciousness that I think we're stepping into in this new dimension.
Exactly.
And I encourage all of my clients to buy recycled clothes. We go to vintage stores, we go to recycled resale, designer, consignment. Not only can they save a fortune, but we're now not having to buy more new clothes, but we're using
Yes.
clothes that are already made,
Yes.
jewelry, beautiful finds. I think it's more exciting.
It's really fun, actually,
It is.
because you go in and find, I mean, I've done this a few times and found Chanel things.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know,
All the
Bottega
designer.
Veneta and all these kinds of amazing things. It's like,
Yes.
okay, and it's one of a kind. So I'm not going to see
Exactly.
myself coming and going. That is for sure. One thing I want to talk about, get back to a little bit about why to look amazing. And one of the things I want to chat about is the idea of ritual in dress, the idea that for thousands of years, there was a process of dressing that was a ritual. If it was for anything, if it was a change of the season, if it was a baby being born, if it was a marriage, if it was a rite of passage in any way, it was always about a ritual.
Yes, and that's why I wrote Fashion Anarchy as the subtitle for my book, because we've let go of all the rituals. We've let go of almost all the rituals, all the rules, and we have anarchy because no one knows what to do.
Yeah.
You know, when they say dress nice
Up.
casual to go to a party, you'll see anything from flip-flops and shorts or jeans, gosh, I mean, it makes me cringe, all the way through fabulous clothing, and people are overdressed, underdressed, there's chaos.
Right.
The worst thing is
Chaos,
people don't think
people!
chaos, the sloppy American, and we think the rest of the world is in on this with us. Now,
No way. No way.
You know what this is what it boils down to, in my opinion. We don't realize that it's an honor. It's a privilege to look beautiful, to look great, to be well groomed, and the rest of the world, they have a little money, they're running to buy nice things, to buy makeup, to buy jewelry, to buy clothing. You know, there are places in Russia where women will save their salary just to buy one pair of nice shoes. They honor
they're
it.
very into labels there, by the way. I mean,
Yes.
they really, so they will do that. They'll
Right.
go ahead and get one or two amazing things. You would just use the word privilege, and I want to take that a little farther in speaking about it's a privilege to go to things. For
Yes.
example, if you even go to the ballet, if you go to a beautiful restaurant, if you go to a third grade ballet recital,
Yes.
I always felt that it shows honor to the person that I'm going to visit, see, if I'm going to someone's house for dinner, that the nice bottle of wine is one thing, but the fact that I've dolled up a little bit and I've taken the moment to do that, I always feel that it's respectful to the people. At least that's how
Yes.
I was raised
I
in
think
Chicago.
you're right. That's why you said glam glam. Chicago people, glam glam.
Yeah, and my peeps, I
Yeah.
come by it honestly, as they
Exactly.
say. My dad said that I came from a stable of clothes horses, but I broke out of the stable. But anyway, but yeah,
It's
I mean,
respectful, but it's
don't you
respectful
feel?
to
I
yourself.
really actually do feel that way.
Yes, I do too. Look,
And to myself,
I live in
yes.
Austin, Texas now, and I wear high heels to the market.
Okay,
and that's the
girl.
capital of flip-flops. And I walk it, and you know what? People will stop me and say, I love your shoes. I love how beautiful you look. You just made me happy to look at you. I'm like, yes, because that's my intention, is everywhere I go to bring more beauty. Not in an egotistical way, not as a slap myself on the back, hey, you did it. No, it's showing up. It's respect for my life. And a lot of people here think, well, it doesn't matter. If I have money, it doesn't matter. But it matters because
does
it's
matter.
affecting our morale. We're silly to think that beauty is something we can ignore.
I agree, and I also, with the idea of the privilege and the idea of the ritual, I'm reading this book right now. We're going to talk about your book too. So I'm going to talk about another book that I was reading because Jean Houston is, some people out there may know, and those of you who don't, check her out because she's one of the most important people on earth. Anthropological, sociological guru for the last 40 years. And she just finished writing a book called The Wizard of Us. And it's so cool because I actually just finished watching The Wizard of Oz. It happened to be on this weekend. And she sort of breaks down the whole concept about The Wizard of Oz and first of all, how Dorothy, in her process through The Wizard of Oz, was really one of the one of the first heroines that we have. And the way she did it was with love and respect for her buddies, for the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and her lion, and of course Toto, who was always there for her, and he was actually in a lot of ways carving the path for her and like that. But anyway, all of the different things that went on, and of course the ruby slippers that are so symbolic of power. So you talk a lot in your book about shoes, and I was thinking about the ruby slippers. In your honor, by the way, I'm wearing ruby red slipper lipstick.
I love it.
Nail polish. I didn't have my.
I love it. I'm
next
oranged
year I'll
mine
get
up a little pop of color. I wear red so much.
But I had to do something about Dorothy today. But so like that, and
Yes.
I mean, the power of our dress really does give us a feeling of being grounded, being appropriate, and being able to
and
exhale.
being a wild, juicy, succulent woman, as Sark would say. And I think you and I are those women.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, really, when you put on a pair of gorgeous shoes, I'm sure you'll agree with this, beautiful heels. And I love wearing heels. There's a lot of women who would like to throw their old heels at me for saying this, but I feel that a woman walks differently, talks differently, her energy changes. And if you can't wear heels, then just wear beautiful shoes, because that helps you walk in beauty.
That's it.
And
That's
there's an ancient Indian poem I read at all my boot camps, and it's anonymous, but it says, beauty is above me, beauty is below me, beauty is in front of me, beauty is behind me, I walk in beauty.
I love that. That's
Isn't that
actually
amazing?
I read that in your book, and it's actually a really, really beautiful song. I used to sing that song. I used to live in Santa Fe, and I used to sing that song. I had a small women's group where we had little babies, and that was one of the chants, that I walk in beauty. Yeah, it's a really great, beautiful, beautiful song. I'm glad that you brought up the Native Americans, actually, because I was going through something I just wanted to share with you. There's this phrase that we have that we hear a lot around that says, we are the ones we've been waiting for. And that actually comes from an elders Orabi of the Hopi Nation, where what it actually comes from this quote, as sort of a ritualistic beginning of rituals when they're happening. This might be said: create your community, be good to each other, and do not look outside for your leader. We are the ones we've been waiting for. So there we go.
And I think we're the ones, when we show up, when we love and respect ourselves enough to care about how we show up in the world, and how we look, and how we groom. Do we smell good? Are we polished up? Do we look right for where we're going?
That's right.
Then doors open. We're looking for other people to give us what we are not, as a nation, willing to give ourselves. And it's showing in our obesity, it's showing in our educational decline. And I don't mean to be negative. I'm not. I'm a very positive person. But we have to look at the correlation between the loss of beauty, the loss of taking pride in ourselves, what we learn, what we think, we feel, and how we treat one another. Because beautiful people do beautiful things.
Well, that's an interesting... Okay, so yeah, I think that's true, and of course, what is beautiful people, and of course, to everyone, that is something different.
Yes, of course.
And again, I think so. What I have found when I work with people in my other life, when I used to actually do this, is I would work with people who were what they felt was sort of over, that their life was sort of over. Either they had their kids, they were past 40 or 60 or 70 or whatever their, over thing was. And, we know that now that that's not true. We know that there is no over. We know that our brain continues to develop until the day we die, when we used to think it was 5, then 21. That's why the alcohol, I don't know if you know this, but that's why the alcohol law was people could drink after 21, because at that point, the scientists were saying that the brain basically stopped developing at 21. Then they said 25, and now the studies are in that it just doesn't stop. So people just keep learning new things and just keep being young. And I had Marcia Wieder on here at the beginning of the Contagious Optimism. She was my first guest here on the show, and she was talking about enzymes and hormones that are secreted when we are babies or children or young people that say, stay alive because there's more to do, basically. I mean, it's a hormone that keeps us going. and surviving and moving forward and thrusting, up out of the soil kind of thing.
Yes.
And then there's a certain point where the brain will say, okay, you're done. And that can be at 30 or 90. It doesn't really, it has nothing to do with the physiological aspect of the body. It has to do with the mind saying, okay, you're done, it's over. And then that enzyme is no longer secreted, and then the body slowly and the mind and everything starts slowing down and readying for the end. So isn't it cool to know that we don't have to do that? That we can. And I'm finding over and over again, working with David Mezzapelle and the Contagious Optimism movement, that there are so many people right now in the ages of 30, well, let's just say 40, 50, 60. I just met 4 more people this week over 60 who are starting something completely different. My guest I had last week went from being in the golf biz to playing slide guitar and writing poetry. Completely different. He may hit a ball or two occasionally, but he's all about writing and speaking and inspiring youth. And I just love that. And so I think that the idea of, again, when we think of the African American women and seeing the 82-year-old women showing up at Agape in their amazing get-ups. It's like that is something that gets you up and out in the morning, I think. And
Absolutely.
So to keep that possibility of vitality alive.
That's everything I believe in, as you know. I teach that. And it saddens me. I have a lot of clients that are 30 and 35. That doesn't sadden me. What saddens me is that they think they're not sexy anymore.
Right,
they think
exactly.
that, I'm over 35. I'm like, honey, I'm 60. Get past yourself.
Yeah.
Who says that we can't be gorgeous?
Wait. You're 60? No, you're not 60.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I'm a grandma.
Our engineer, John, is even right. No, my God, you look amazing. Okay,
thank you.
Carry on.
So I have a granddaughter who's 2, and my children are 24 to 34. I have 3 kids. No one's going to tell me I can't be sexy. It's like, move out of my way. Really?
Okay.
And then people say, well, you've never grown. When are you going to grow up? Never.
Oh,
never.
My God.
When I lose being like a child, that's it. I mean, right? You got to have fun.
Exactly. Oh, my God.
My kids say, don't tell me you have sex. I say, yes, my husband and I have sex.
Yes,
we have sex. We enjoy it.
Please, people.
I said, you should be happy we're normal. You should be happy we're functioning. And I don't believe I can't wear certain things. All right, I'm not going to dress like I'm 20. But when young women say, "Oh, it's over," I want to slap them lovingly.
Oh my gosh!
I want to take my high-heeled stiletto and kick them up the you-know-what. Hello,
people.
It's what are you thinking when you look in the mirror? Okay, we're gonna look different, but we can be, like you said, even 82, 90. Amazing makeup on, dressed, wearing nice shoes, swaying our hips.
Well, that's really one of those things that that I have to say too, because when I was working with women who were 70 years old and they were kind of like, really, okay, it's over. I mean, they would come to me and maybe they were a bit overweight and kind of frumpy with their hair and their outfits and whatever. But then after I got done with them, after a couple lattes and whatever, and having a few chats and throw this cool color on and to stop wearing gray and black and throw on this whatever color. It's okay. You can be noticed. It's all right. The world will not come to an end. Throw a little red lipstick on. The sun will still come up tomorrow. Don't worry. And they would literally be like Watusiing down my to their car.
You gave them permission to be
God,
fabulous, right?
Exactly.
But why do we need permission? Hello. What is it that makes us dim our lights, like Marianne Williamson says? We're not afraid of our light. We're not afraid of our darkness. It is our light that frightens us most, she says in that amazing poem, Our Greatest Fear. Why is it that women in our society, not others, in America, need permission to be noticed?
I think it actually is a pendulum going the other way, if I can say, because I think you hit on something earlier when you were saying even if you have money, you still should look cool. I mean, there was definitely a time in the 80s, and when I lived in LA, I went to school with celebrity kids of the celebrities, and it was really just like not cool to look like you had money. So I think there is kind of a pendulum swing thing, and so I think that the permission to just really look as beautiful and as appropriate for the occasion where you are, as you can is something that is really, really powerful. And I think there is this sort of, I don't want people to look at me, or I don't want to seem superficial and that I'm into my looks, because that's going to make me seem like a shallow person. And so I think that's what it is.
I would like to interject to that.
Please.
I mean, all the points you're raising are amazing. You're just right on. But we don't need to worry about people thinking we're a snob, or, as Marianne Williamson says, feeling insecure around us. You know what we need to do when we're beautiful or handsome? We just need to open our hearts, be kind, generous, smile, be friendly, because maybe other Americans will want to hate us. Europeans will applaud us. In France, they'll give us respect. In South America, they'll love us for looking good. Here, they'll kind of, give us that weird moment. But I've found I just need to smile more. I need to be more polite. I need to be kinder the better I look, so that it puts them at ease that beauty is not superficial, that beauty can be wonderful. That's why I say, how do we act? Do we act kindly? Do we act with respect? Do we come with a good intention? And we look great? Wow. How powerful is that?
Exactly. And again, I want to just clarify something, because I feel like some people may think that we're talking about beautiful people and not beautiful people. I mean, and again, and we're not talking about that. We're talking about the intention of just being the best people we can and bringing it. You know, it's like if you're going to sing a song, if you're going to build a building, if you're going to do whatever you're doing, bring it. And then, as far as showing up, one of the things that I found so cool in The Wizard of Oz is they have, I don't know if you remember this, but they have, remember when all of them came they actually came to the Wizard of Oz, and they were at the Emerald City, and they were getting ready to see the wizard.
Buffed and polished.
Emerald City Wash and Brush Up Shop is the name of the place that was that little place where they were. Yeah. And they were there, and and the people were, okay, remember that song? Ho, 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 ho,
of course I do.
Tra-la-las. That's how we laugh the day away in the merry old land of Oz. There we go.
Hey. I love that. Are you kidding? That was Pretty Woman without the prostitute and the rich guy. Right? Wasn't it?
Honestly, what was happening there was they were really, the straw man was getting new straw and all of that. Dorothy, actually, they changed her hair. So sometimes you see people when they redo Dorothy with braids, and sometimes with the other hair.
With the curls.
Right. And of course, the Tin Man was buffed and polished incredibly. And the Courageous Lion got new bows, and his hair was really, really clean. It was a ritual. It was a process. And it was super, super fun. And everybody was having fun doing it. The people who were doing the buffing and the polishing, the people who were getting the buffing and the polishing. And that is something actually that Jean Houston was talking about too in her book, about sort of the process of life and just taking joy in everything we do. And so this morning when I was getting ready, I was sort of ha 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 ho ho ho, and of course I got maybe too much mascara on as I was doing that. But honestly, it sometimes does feel like a drudgery. But if you do it with fun, it's way more fun to get ready. You just take a shower and rub your feet with lovely coconut oil before you go to bed,
and caress
as
your
a
body
ritual.
in lotion.
Yeah, if nobody else is doing it, at least we should.
I do it
For
first,
God's
and then
sakes.
it'll turn your guy on so much he'll want to join in. But that's why I say do it for yourself. But when we wake up in the morning, if we just say, "Hey, I get to take 45 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, to present myself to the world," and I get excited, and I tell my students, my clients, I say, "Look at the weather. There's a few things, right? Let's pay attention to the weather.
Yep.
Then we're going to look at where we're going. Who are we meeting with? What do we want them to feel about us? What do we want them to perceive? And how do we want to feel? Are we going on a date? Want to feel sexy? Are we going to a business meeting? We want to feel probably more powerful. What is the part of our persona we want to project? And then, okay, I get to do this. So I'm going to do my makeup or my hair. If you're a guy, I'm going to do my hair this way, woman hair and makeup. I'm going to choose these clothes. And then you love the way you look, and you take that out into the world. And it's not, do I have to, Eve? Do I have to put on makeup? Do I have to wear heels? No, you get to. Well, you get to respect yourself. You get to love yourself.
Yeah.
And
I love that you say that. I think it's really, really true. And just for fun, I want to touch on two things. First of all, you said, "Do I have to?" No, I get to. And that's something I want to remind everyone. I'm going to do this for a little. Let's just do this for a month, okay? Shall we, you guys? Every time we start to say "I have to," say "I get to."
Yes.
Because when we say "I have to pick up my kids at school," say "I get to pick up my kids at school."
That's
Because
right.
there's some people right now who don't. You
That's
know, when
right.
I have to do the dishes, thank God I have dishes and food. I get to do the
That's
dishes.
right.
So let's just do that for a month, shall we, guys?
Amen. Amen,
Okay,
soul
are you with
sister.
me?
I-
Are you with me, John?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Everything we get to do is a privilege because we're free and we have
Yes.
that kind of society where we make a choice.
Well, we're human beings. We're part of the human family, and whatever it is, whatever society is, I mean,
That's
yes,
right.
we do get to make that choice, but being able to get to. So that's one of the takeaways today. It's your party favor for today, guys.
And we're teaching our children, if I might interject. that
Absolutely.
I have 3 children, 2 stepchildren. I can tell you it's what you do more than what you say that
Oh,
they
yeah.
pay attention to.
That's right.
And when I work with parents, the kids are always saying, "Thank goodness my mom's looking nicer. Thank goodness my dad." They want us to be beautiful, and we have to teach them how to love themselves enough to feel worthy of being that.
Well, and again, that's something that happens with people. It is true that when people, not all people, but sometimes when people sort of look a certain way and then they start looking not as nice and not taking care of themselves, it can be a symbol of depression or not
Yes.
feeling good. So it can, I mean, it really can be that. And when people do, ha, 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 ho, 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 get it together.
I'm going to sing it tomorrow when I
And a
put on my
couple of
makeup.
tra-la-las. I hope so. All you guys, join in.
But
but
really, it
it's
is a form of a
true.
depression when people don't take care of themselves. My mother was brain damaged when I was a little girl, when I was very little, a year and a half old. She used to be an opera singer. She was beautiful, and I saw the demise. And at a very young age, I tried to bring her lipstick and nail polish to the hospital, to the mental state institution, because something in me, at not even 5 years old, realized that I was probably younger than that. I'd go to the local store, have my dad take me, then I would go on my own. But
Yeah.
I realized that if Mom
Wow.
would look normal, that she could probably
Might
be normal and
feel-
might be able to come home.
Oh, bless
And-
your heart.
And I think I've been
Aw.
spending the rest of my life trying to help people who don't see that connection.
Wow. Guys, I want to remind you, if you've just tuned in, this is Sunny Chayes, and we are chatting about contagious optimism on the Contagious Optimism Show, and we're here with Eve Michaels and the dress code. And in a second, we're going to take one little break, John. I just want to let you know we'll be chatting. We're going to go to a little break in a minute, but thank you for sharing that. That was such a personal thing that you were writing about in the book about your mom and everything. And I went through a challenge actually when I moved from San Francisco to LA, and it was just like a death for me because I left my kids up north, even though there were reasons for me to come down here, and they were older. But still, I was so sad about leaving Marin. I mean, who wouldn't be? Anybody should grieve if they leave Marin. And anyway, my son came down to see me, and he got a little worried. He was like, "Oh my God, Mom, you're just sort of like, you're scaring me. You have tennis shoes on and sweats out and about. This is not good." And I thought, okay, this is really wild. I got to pull it together. But anyway, I want to
Exactly.
go ahead and take a break. John, can we just go to a break? So again, you're with us with Contagious Optimism, and we'll be back in a minute. So we have
It's the
39
Contagious Optimism Show with inspiring host Sunny Chayes, featuring best-selling author David Mezzapelle. Real people with real stories of perseverance and hope. Join Sunny and guests ranging from Contagious Optimism co-authors to world leaders as they find the silver lining. Better understand why optimism is so empowering. Be recharged, inspired, and perhaps surprised as they tap into the secrets of a joyful life. To celebrate the human spirit. Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific on UBN Radio and Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific on Gwen Network TV Stories. Contagious Optimism.
Hi, guys. We're back. This is Sunny Chayes, and you are with us on the Contagious Optimism Show. And we are chatting with the wonderful and fabulous and powerful and gorgeous Eve Michaels. And we're talking about The Wizard of Us. We're talking about ritual. We're talking about anthropology, archaeology, history, and just all of that brought together to make us make the point about dressing, presentation, the ritual, and the just the joy of pulling it together.
Yes, and you could be my new best friend, Sunny. I mean, really.
Okay.
We're so aligned in our thinking and vitality. I think if we went to a party, we'd probably blow the roof off.
Well, if they have music and we started dancing, I think that would happen.
With our
for
ruby
sure.
slippers to go with your ruby lipstick and your ruby nails.
Indeed,
I love.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing that I wanted to actually, let's see if I have it here. One of the things speaking about the ruby slippers and about Dorothy, and again the idea of the feminine power as a heroine.
Mm-hmm.
This is another thing when you were saying about what's going on and the American and all that. I honestly and truly do think that there is a fear, there is a resistance to stepping up and out. Again, I mean, Marianne wrote that many, many years ago, and it's still, of course, attributed to many people. But the point is that it's true, and I think it's still true, as many wise things that many people have said over the last 100 years continue to be actually more true today than they were when they said them. And so the idea of really knowing that we have the power.
Oh, we do.
And when we understand and know that we have the power, then we can relax into it and go for it. And I think it is very, very important to be in touch with the ritual of life. And I mean, that's what I teach my kids, and they resisted. We would go to a birthday party and I'd have them sort of dressed up, and they're like, Mom, everybody else is wearing like a fish shirt with fish shorts. I mean, this is when they were 6 or 7. And it was like, oh my gosh, come on. I mean, but we're showing honor to the people.
Yes, and as I said, first and foremost, it's how we treat ourselves and how we show up for ourselves. And then that trickles down, of course, to our children, our family. I think we really need to look at how we are not stepping into our beauty and handsomeness. And I mean beauty generically. And it includes grooming, and it includes manners. And it is an honor, and it does change our lives. I was asked to open the NASDAQ Stock Exchange in 2009 in honor of what I do. And I know you're looking surprised. I was even more surprised. Could have blown me away. I said, God, did you make a mistake? It's me. It's me, Eve Michaels. But they feel it's that important. And they felt at that time when, the economy had gone phooey, that the quickest way for us to turn it around is to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I pulled it together. Things can't be that bad. So if we want this country to be great again, greater than it ever was, we are the people. That's why I have the flag on the book. It's not that I'm this staunch right-wing Republican. I'm not. But I wanted us to believe that we are the people. We are the microcosm. So if we do it, then we are seen as world leaders. It's the act as if, dress as if, think as if, you will become.
And again, like
You
the
will
Hopi
become that.
Nation, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
That's right.
I mean, absolutely. So remember at the end of The Wizard of Oz when it's like, okay, so what's up? And everything has now happened, and the Tin Man has received his heart, and the wizard is not really a wizard, but he pulls all of this amazing power together for each one of them and gives them their gifts and explains to them, of course, the Scarecrow had so many brains all along and really guided the whole thing through, and but just didn't have the confidence in himself to know that, and the courage in the lion and the Tin Man of heart. And then all of a sudden, Toto jumps out of the basket, Dorothy flies after him, and then the balloon goes up, and she's like, now what? And it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And all of a sudden, here comes Glinda in her cotton candy pink outfit,
right?
And comes, and she's just like, and Dorothy's like, now what do I do? And can you help me get home? And Glinda says, well, you had the power all along.
Yes,
and the Scarecrow
exactly.
says, well, why didn't you tell her? And she said, she wouldn't have believed me. And she said, you had to go through all of this hero's journey to get to this place, to know that you always had the power, even though, I mean, you've always been wearing the ruby slippers, but you always had the power. And so I'm just going to read this little bit because the Tin Man asked Dorothy, because it is, Glinda's saying to Dorothy, well, what have you learned? I mean, at this, basically saying,
Right.
like, at this point, you kind of got it, girl. So, but what actually is
Right,
it?
right.
And so the Tin Man asks, well, what have you learned, Dorothy? And the girl from Kansas addresses her friends. Well, I think it wasn't enough to just see Uncle Henry and Auntie Em, or to miss them, sorry. That if I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard. Oh, God, it like chokes me up. Because if it wasn't there, I never really lost it to begin with. Is that right? And Glinda says, yes, that's right. And so what does she do? She does a ritual. She
Yes.
clicks her heels 3 times and she says a mantra. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. And then, you know, we know the rest of the
So
story.
can I kick my Louboutins and say, there's nothing like beauty. There's nothing like beauty. There's nothing like beauty.
in all the forms.
In all the forms. Whatever
Okay,
that means to
we
you.
will clink our ionized
Okay, let's-
funny
whoa.
glass. I know. We've got our mason jars here because we're totally green.
We're totally green. We'll have a little alcohol in them later.
Yeah, well, God only knows. But yeah, that's it. And so the ruby slippers, I mean, and of course the witch could not take them off her.
Of course
Because
not. Could you imagine anybody trying to take off your Louboutins? Girl. Back off.
but they were, because they had so much power, but they were on the right feet.
Ah.
You know, this is the other thing. So
Right.
so the message with that we can chat about here, being
Personal
talking
power.
about
Claiming it.
well, and also what is beautiful for each person is 100,000,000% individual, like a snowflake.
Yes, it is.
You know, there
Yes,
is
it
no. You know, it's like when you're working with somebody, or I am, or anybody's working with anyone, it really is about them. It's not
and
about us.
I want to get
or-
that point across,
Yes.
please, as an image consultant. I don't care if you're wearing the new normcore, you know, the normal kind of grandpa, grandma look that's back in.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care if
Yeah.
you're a haute couture designer. I don't care if you're in denims most days. Just have style, have beauty, have handsomeness. Just express yourself. The worst thing is not caring, apathy, anarchy, no style. Have whatever, be whatever form of beauty you want, but just own it.
Yeah.
And I would like to challenge everybody to do this for a month.
Okay.
Instead of casual Friday or casual work day, how about fabulous Friday, fabulous work day?
I like it.
You know?
Okay.
Well, I'm going to challenge everybody to take the time, an extra 15 or 20 minutes every day, to look your best, to present yourself to the world. And if 30 days from now you can't say that your life isn't better, then go back to your sloppy ways. But if I'm right, then you're going to be a lot happier, wealthier, healthier, more productive. Honor yourself. 30 days.
Okay, and one other thing I want to tell everybody, 2 different things. The first thing is that, and you guys may not know this, and you're probably not even going to believe me, but it's true. People make an impression of you in 3 seconds. And that's done.
Yes, of course.
So it's a lot to change it. So in 3 seconds, they've summed up they've summed up about 30 to 50 qualities about you, believe it or not. So I just want to tell you guys that, so the next time you're going to something, realize that people will, hey, you say people don't judge. Guess what? They do. The other
Yes,
thing
they
that
do.
I want to sort of end with is kind of a prayer mantra idea about thanking our bodies. And I learned this process many years ago, and I don't always do it, but before I go to bed, we talk a lot these days about having a journal and writing gratitude, or Oprah talks about, a lot of people do, or in the
Yes.
morning. And one of the this is a great way to fall asleep if you ever have a problem falling asleep, because you will fall asleep doing this, but when you're in bed and you're relaxing and you're chilling out to to go to sleep, start with your toes and thank them. The thousands of steps you have taken that day, the thousands, and thank your feet, thank your ankles, thank the bones, the blood, your organs as you work up your body. Thank every part of your body, and I mean really thank it, because imagine if you did not have it.
That's
which
right.
many people don't. Think of the value of each part of your body, and as you go up, and honestly, it does, giving all the different parts of your body love, which of course this is our vessel for this lifetime, does actually change the physiology and the cellular structure, and it's just an amazing process to do.
Yes.
And to really realize, we swallow 2,000 times a day. we don't think about that, but if we had a sore throat or we had an issue, we would think about it. So I want to say that. I also want to remind everybody that we get to.
Yes,
okay?
we do.
We're just doing
Yes,
a little
we
wrap
do.
up here. We get to for the next month instead of have to. We get to.
Please, 30 days. Try it out. If I'm
And-
wrong, you can write to me. Write to me at evemichaels.com or info@evemichaels.com. and tell me I was wrong. But if I'm right and some miracles start to happen in your life, which I know they will, in your money, in your relationships, in your self-respect, please write to me and share your stories, and we're going to blog about that and post that.
I like it. I like it. And again, guys, let's try not to do plastic for the next year just for fun. And every single day, think of some little thing that you can do to just give some love to our beautiful earth, because that's our big body, and appreciating everything. And so just think, if you throw something away, it's like throwing it on your friend's new carpet. You know, it's the same thing. So it really honestly is. And so I know that we're going to be wrapping it up, and I know John's going to give us like 2 more minutes. So I want to make sure that we really, really let everybody know how they can get in touch with you. So again, dress code, ending fashion anarchy. I love that.
Thank you.
We are speaking with Eve Michaels, the beautiful and fabulous. And now, do you have ruby slippers, by the way? If not, you're probably going to
I have about 150 ruby slippers.
Cool.
And I thank God every night for my feet that carry me into those high heels. I don't take it
Yes.
for granted. And they can reach me. They can on my website. They can follow me on Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, you name it. We're out there.
I love it. I love it. So, yes. And then now, John, do we have a picture of the book, or am I showing? Okay, so if we can just throw that up, and I'm holding it right now. Well, you're actually wearing ruby slippers on here, actually, as it turns
Yes,
out.
we are.
As it turns out.
Yes.
So
and
again,
I thank you for reading the book. You're a doll.
Oh
You're
my gosh.
Just a pleasure being with you and sharing your amazing knowledge and homework that you've done for this and your energy. I support you, soul sister, on your path.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And guys, remember, have that contagious optimism. And I read somewhere recently, I think it was, you know who said this? I want to share this with you. The beautiful and amazing Robin Roberts. You know, this wonderful woman, this black woman who's had cancer and then had cancer again and everything. And I was listening to her. She has a book out too. I'm just talking about a few books here. And she said, optimism is like a muscle. It gets stronger with use. Don't we love that?
It does.
So let's just use it. So like that. And so we are coming to an end. So guys, be with us next week. We'll be with Singing in the Rain next week. But until then, nice. We've got dress code up on the air here. I love it.
Thank you.
So until next time, just be good to yourself, smile at somebody else, and know that you make a difference and that we all do have the power of one. So until next time, remember, optimism is contagious. Sing it loud, say it strong. Optimism is contagious. Pick it up and pass it on. Until next time, this is Sunny Chayes with Contagious Optimism, and we'll see ya. Bye.
It's the Contagious Optimism Show with inspiring host Sunny Chayes, featuring best-selling author David Mezzapelle. Real people with real stories of perseverance and hope. Join Sunny and guests ranging from Contagious Optimism co-authors to world leaders as they find the silver lining. Better understand why optimism is so empowering. Be recharged, inspired, and perhaps surprised as they tap into the secrets of a joyful life. To celebrate the human spirit. Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific on UBN Radio, and Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific on Gwen Network TV Stories. Contagious Optimism.